Hello everyone. We've seen the monochord in a previous video, and it has 24 strings all tuned to one note, D. And it has this beautiful harmonics. It's accentuated by the dome of this instrument, which creates a greater resonance. But what you haven't heard is the KoTaMo. Ko because of the koto, the Japanese instrument, the tuning of that, and the ta, the tanpura or tampura, the Indian instrument. The tampura, of course, will be familiar to you because it was one of the first instruments that we played in this series, and it was actually its own individual instrument. This is a different tuning, but it still has that tampura droning sound. During the playing today, I'll bring in the monochord aspect. If you look up monochord in the Google, you'll probably see it more referred to the Pythagorean monochord, which was actually just one string. Pythagoras, of course, was just an innovator in all of the sound work that we do. He's kind of our patron saint of sound, if you will. Just really brought forward this idea of sound as this healing modality that is now probably we're moving into more than ever. So we're going to set the energy field as we always do by asking for the highest and purest light from the highest and purest source to surround and fill each one of us for our highest good. Connect with our hearts and feel that loving, and let that loving also reverberate through our being and into the environment and the world around us with that light. And of course, then we add the sound to that. I received a wonderful call today from Jesse Harris. Jesse Harris was one of the early people to come down with the coronavirus and was in hospital with 104 temperature. And we dedicated one of these sound meditations to him and placed him in the light. And just hearing his voice today, he's out of the hospital now. I expected him to sound like Darth Vader, but he actually sounded very clear. His lungs are recovering, thank God. And he's still very weak, so he's in a recovery process, even though it's been a couple of weeks. So we continue to send our light to Jesse. But what touched me is he said that when we had sent him the light, and when he found that this sound meditation was dedicated to him, it really began his recovery. He said it was a moment that he'll never forget for the rest of his life, because all things started to come into place. He was immediately released from hospital, he started feeling better, and he was well on his way to recovery. So the reason I'm saying that is that each of us in our own way create a resonance, a vibration that goes through the whole universe. We can just hear the sirens now outside that reminds us that we're in Los Angeles. Sometimes a helicopter passes by, and we just make that part of our soundscape. We just let that go through us, and we send the light to that ambulance, that fire truck, that police car right now, because those people need it very, very much, just like the workers on the front line. And talking about that, there was two people that I know, a minister in MSIA who's a chaplain in one of the hospitals in New York City, and is really right there with the patients that are coming and going and moving on, passing from this world. And she's there holding a beautiful focus, Rochelle Zizou. And Wade Binder had to go home with perhaps the virus because he was on the front lines with the nurses and doctors in his hospital in New York City. So it's really real. these are people who are really working this. And for those of us who are at home, what can we do? And really a lot. I've been in this space of spiritual teachings for over 50 years and working with the light, and for many, many of those years, and it really makes a tremendous difference. I've seen miracles, I've seen things happen that I can't even explain, and it really works. And so just don't worry about your mind getting in the way. Just, I ask for the light, for the highest good, for this person, for this event, and then we can let it go. We've done our part, but it's a very big part. All of us that are holding a positive focus, a loving focus, a light focus, are doing so much. So please don't underestimate your ability in the simplest of ways. And one of them can be this now, placing into the light who it is that you feel needs it. And as you do that, letting it go. And then having an intention. It could be for yourself, for something else, and allowing the sound to carry that intention, be the carrier wave into what could be called the field of grace. I prefer that to the quantum field or the matrix, because the field of grace seems much more alive, much more loving, that it's a loving intelligence that really guides us and holds us and sustains us. So please just relax and enjoy the KoTaMo Monochord and allow it to resonate through your being into your cells, into the environment around you, and into the world, because it will move on your loving, on your light, and your sound.
you.